I don't see it live here.
Are we live? It says we're 22 seconds in.
Give it a second.
That's more centered. All right. You're not in there yet?
I am, but it's not showing live.
It says we're live here. Can you hear me, Mark?
Okay, okay, it's updated. Mark can hear you. Okay. So we have a couple people in the chat already that are talking. We have Mark Sauvé.
Welcome, Mark. Thank you for coming early.
He says AMC Pacer, the only vehicle I know of where the passenger door is longer than the driver's door by about 4 inches.
Yes, and when you look at it, open both doors, look at it from the front, it's very obvious.
Buff del Campo's also here.
Yes, hi, Buff.
Dan E. Boyd is here.
Well, he was here. Let's see if he's actually still here.
He went to get his bottle of gin. Jay is here.
Hopefully, he'll stay here.
Hello, Jay. Mm,
That's also Dean.
yeah, but I didn't saw the first Dean, so I was looking for that thing. So Dean is here. He's multiplying in the chat.
Dean's here a couple of times.
Barracuda's here.
Barry, welcome.
I didn't, let's play on this. Tavo's here as well.
Hello, Tavo.
He says, I'm kind of here, but not really awake. I'm really sorry.
You have a little time.
Me too.
No, his clock went ahead 1 hour, so it's not as early as it used to be.
Yeah, but still. Buddy Carofano's here.
Hey, buddy. Thank you for coming.
He says hello. Dan says it's June o'clock. What time is it? Wait. I'm not gonna ask. I don't care. You're fine. You're a grown up. Barracuda says hello, Tavo. How's the weather there? Okay. Dan says still here, just heading for the kitchen.
Okay. Bring us something good.
And he's obviously gonna bring gin.
Yeah, but you can bring something for us.
Okay. Mark Sobe says, I had noticed it a long time ago when I noticed the outside door locks.
Yeah.
That was in for a stinker today. Forecast is 39 Celsius. 39 Celsius is a lot. It's really hot.
Yeah. They're coming into summer. We're coming into winter.
Yeah.
Or they're in spring because we're in autumn, I guess.
He says, but it's Sunday here. Who gets up before 9 on a Sunday? Right? Yeah, there you go. So why are you complaining that he's up early? Early?
I said his clock was put ahead an hour, so it's not as early as it was
But
on
it's
our
still
previous lives.
Sunday.
Yeah. Not our fault. We're in Saturday. Midday Saturday. Did you lighten up your screen so you could see better?
No. I can see fine. You're the one that's blind.
Well, that is true.
Oh, there.
Much better.
Danny Boy says, here's the first of the day, fellers. Red roller skate. Mark Sobe says that looks like a suppository for a bus. So, Rafa Campos says winter in Mexico is probably pleasant. It depends where you are. We have a lot of different types of weather, but yeah.
It doesn't get very cold here.
No, we have.
I mean, it wouldn't for you guys. It wouldn't be cold. It's cold for us.
Yeah, we have only a handful of places where we get snow. We don't have that many cold places, like extremely cold places. Mark says it's 5:02 p.m. there. Okay.
So you're 3 hours ahead of us. I thought you were 4 hours.
Dan says what a bus is for a tampon. Calm down, Dan.
He was talking about the red Chevy.
Yeah. Barry says, well, 39 Celsius already. It's pleasant and warm here today, but typically it wasn't. It hasn't been. And cold at night. Sick of it.
The forecast last night for here said it's going to be getting warmer for the next 5 days because it's been really nice the last 2 days. So we're going back up. So we'll see what happens.
Mark says it's 17 Celsius here. Oh, that's nice. 17 Celsius is nice. It's like here at night, like a chilly night.
But during the day, when you have to get
Yeah.
stuff done,
Pablo Campos says, Yuma, Arizona was good all winter. It gets cold here in Tennessee. Lester's here.
hi Lester, thanks for joining us.
Okay. Kevin Smith is also here.
Kevin Smith, wow, look at you showing up. How's the warden? Oh, this car you're looking at here, it's a Nissan Platina, but it is actually a Renault with a Nissan name on it. They were horrible cars. Horrible, horrible cars. I'm surprised this one is in such good condition. But a rebadged Renault and people actually bought them. Ugh. Exactly, Dan.
Ran? No way.
Uh-huh.
Kevin Smith says, Warden says she's fine.
Good. It's good to hear.
Buddy Carafano says hi, Buff and Kevin. Renault.
Renault. It's alt, like alternative car. People are still buying them new here. So you never know. One of the worst Ubers I ever was in, wherever we were in, is a Renault Kwid, KWID. The rear seat padding is probably an eighth of an inch thick. Every bump you hit, your back felt it. Every last one of them.
Like the seats on an airplane.
No,
The seats on the airplane is really freaking thin.
not as thin as the Renault. It was
Oh.
terrible. But I did ask, I got into another one and I asked the guy if he's had any mechanical problems with the car. And he said no, he had like 200,000 kilometers on it. He says, no, I haven't had anything, just did my oil changes and that's it. So that kind of shocks me being a Renault.
Sabo says what we call cold is probably normal winter in most of the US. Maybe get 5 nights in winter under 35, 32 F, 32 Fahrenheit.
Mm-hmm.
Highs for those days about mid 50s Fahrenheit. Lester says 80 Fahrenheit here right now, going down to 40 Fahrenheit tomorrow night.
Does anybody recognize this car? The 206cc. There was a very famous Top Gear episode about it in England.
Dan says, proud to say I can't ever remember ever having ridden in a Renault.
I had a Renault. I bought a Renault Alliance convertible, 1985 model. Stick shift, very low miles. After I bought it, I realized why it had low miles, because it was sitting in a body shop most of its life. But it was a very nice car. I considered it the poor man's BMW convertible.
Kevin Smith says, like sitting on a rock.
It was worse.
Sabo says, seats trimmed like a cheap Chinese office chair.
Yep. And well, at least the office chair doesn't hit bumps in the road all the time. It was a terrible drive.
Kevin Smith says, my father-in-law had a Renault. I think he's a piece of junk.
Yep.
Danny Boyd says, dork mobile right here. Lester says, Peugeot is ugly.
There was a famous, Clarkson did his scene with this. He says, if you move this lever and you turn this light on, then the whole thing, the whole dashboard caught on fire, and the car burned to the ground. He said it's like a factory option. You do this, and the whole thing will burn to the ground.
Sorry, I'm gonna sneeze. Yeah, it says Kevin Smith says, "Yep, like a cheap suit."
Mm-hmm.
Mark Suarez says, "Looks like the car version of a Suzuki XJ90."
Yeah, much lower. But the roof comes down on it. It's got a hardtop convertible, and the roof folds into the trunk, which is a whole new electrical problem that the car has.
Bob Del Campo says, "I like the Renault Dauphine from long ago."
Yep. Dina Alpine, it was buff because it was made in Mexico by Dina Corporation.
But, that was says, "I'll agree there, Bob. I quite like the Dauphine." Is the Dauphine a different car?
No, it's the European version of what they made in Mexico,
Mm,
the one that we
mm.
showed.
Okay, okay. Mark Suarez says, "So that Evoid, so you're saying that that's what Steve Urkel will be driving today?" I don't know who Steve Urkel is. Sorry. Kevin Smith says, "Peugeot Phuket." Dan Evoid says to Mark Sauvé, "That is very plausible."
Of course, you guys in Europe and Australia know this is an Opel Astra. It was sold here under the Chevy brand.
I never liked those cars.
No, they're the half breeds, just like the Corsa that I bought. A couple years old and you can't find parts for it.
Lester says, I rode in a Dauphine in the 1960s." Dan says, "Astra," with two S's. Tabo says, "Korean built Holden Barina here."
Farina. Okay. Hey Tavo, did you ever get the Tigra down there? It's
What?
a little. It's a very small car. Looks like it could be a two-seater, but it has a tiny back seat. They sold it in Mexico for 1 year. It was an Opel. They sold it for just 1 year here. It came in, went out. That's it. I don't know if it was just bad sales or something happened with the importation process or whatever, but it was a 1 year only thing.
Mark says, "I had a 1976 Pontiac Astra wagon long ago."
That's spelled different, Mark.
Dan
Very different
says,
car.
"Holding ashtray." Mark says, "The Pontiac Astra was like a Vega."
Yes,
Okay,
yes, 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 it was.
I'm Mexican, so I thought that was a different. I'm sorry, I have to pause. I was like, I'm not supposed to say that word out loud. John Wilburn is here.
Hi, John.
Hi, John.
Thanks for joining us.
I'm sorry, I'm just waking up, so.
These are some of the Mexican cars you would see if you did come here. The stuff that was never sold over there. New and old, I'm showing today.
Tavo says, "Yes, unfortunately, about 50 tiras made it here."
Tigras. It
Tigras.
should be Tigra.
He changed it to
Okay, okay.
tigras. Okay.
50. Wow. Nobody wanted them there either? It was a cute little car. I have to say that. It was a cute little car.
Kevin Smith says, "Opals were cool little cars, Cadet or the Mini Vet."
But they were rattle traps, Kevin. Rattle traps. All of them.
Dan says, "Vegas equals the king of rust."
Yeah, but nobody had one long enough to rust. The engines blew, so they got rid of them. Or they took it back to the dealer for a new engine every couple of months.
Mark says, "Lol, is Vega about word in Spanish?" I'm not gonna comment. I don't know what to teach you any bad words. Dan says, "Throw in the La Cucaracha horn and leopard skin upholstery, and I'll take it." Mm,
This little car is called a Monza here, but this is the C2. This is the newer one. And they called it C2 when everybody knows that C2 refers to a Corvette. But that's how they advertised it when it came out. That all the commercials were a big C2 because it's the first redesign that they did in years on this thing, which means new headlights, new taillights. That was it.
wait, I missed it. What? Okay. Lester says, "I like the Opal Manta, like Buff does."
A kid in my school had one of those. It probably rattles less than the Cadet.
Barracuda says, I wouldn't mind one of those Baldwin Motion 454 Vega.
Yeah, you would kill yourself in that thing.
Dean Stevenson says, Dean Stevenson in drag. Oh.
Is there something you want to confess to us, Dean?
He doesn't have to if he
To
doesn't
the
want
whole
to.
to the whole chat here.
Dan says, yeah, it looks like one of the oh shit. Hold on, I'm sorry. That is says you. It looks like one of those shitty Dewo Pontiac Le Mans.
It's not. It doesn't look that bad. It is, and it is a smaller car. The Monza here.
Dean Stevenson says again. Dean Stevenson in drag.
And you have another one too. Waiting for your third account, Dean.
Drag persona.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin Smith says, bad thought about Diano.
Dino.
Dino. Sorry, Dino.
Well, he could be Diano in drag. He could be Diano. Diana.
Will the Trail is here.
Hi, Will. Thank you for joining us.
Kevin Smith says, Dino, what the hell? Dan says, Dean Coda's timeout.
Well, if we do that, we're going to have to time him out.
Hey, Jay, welcome back.
Hi, Jay. Did I win yet, Jay?
Win what?
Are you gonna spend $100 in shipping to send a bottle of car cleaner to me?
What do you win?
I don't know. He had a contest on his short. If you post and share, so I send it to Buff. Buff can back me up that I sent him the link.
Okay.
Because when you go into share, it doesn't do anything. It doesn't connect to Instagram, only to WhatsApp and a few others. So.
Kevin Smith says, lipstick Dino.
This is a Volkswagen van that I don't think you guys got over there. Trying to remember what it was called.
Mark Soe says, Dean Stevenson padding the stats. Well, I guess he is, yeah.
There's only 12 people in here, so if we take 2 of his accounts off, so that leaves 10. So that's about average for us.
Yeah. Kevin Smith says, Kevin's Ferrari is slow today. Oh my god. And Jay says, Rutan.
Could be. No, I think it's Sharon. I think this one is Sharon. Sharan. I could be wrong. After my experience with the Volkswagen dealer when I bought a 2011 CrossFox, and I had the first oil change done at Midas, they voided my warranty for the whole car because I didn't get the oil change done at the dealership, and I was not going to leave my car at the dealership for a week for a darn oil change. So, no.
John Wilburn is here.
Again?
Did I already say that?
Yes.
Sorry. Something tells me those modern VW vans suck no matter which market they are made for.
Well, they move a lot of people around. Cars do last longer here, John, because I keep asking people, Uber drivers that have 300, 400,000 kilometers, if they've had any major problems with the cars, and every one of them has told me, nope, just changing the oil, doing the service, and a clutch every 200,000 kilometers, and they keep driving. So, I don't know.
Dan says air-cooled days are long gone. For you, maybe.
With new cars, yes.
Oh, cars. Never mind.
But we can still drive them around. Remember the song?
Yeah. Wait.
This is a little Hyundai that was made for Dodge, sold through the Dodge dealers. It's an attitude. Bad or good, depends.
Dean is singing on the chat. Tavo says, oh shoot. Wait. Tavo says, that's what the badge on the back said. Sharan.
Yeah, yeah, I thought I had that right.
Dan says, ooh, you made my mother run. My mother run. So everyone's singing in the chat now. John Wilburn says, Uber here won't allow a car over 10-year-old, unfortunately.
No,
Yeah.
these cars weren't over 10 years old, but
Yeah,
you
but
know,
they were still running pretty well even
yeah,
after so much use.
and not easy use. Uber is hard use, going constantly all day, and especially in the summertime here when it's 120 degrees out there with the air conditioning on, crossing town back and forth, back and forth. It shouldn't be easy on the car, but not one of them has told me that he had to put an engine in it or had to do this or had to do that. All of them tell me I just do normal maintenance, and the car just keeps going. So unfortunately, the cars don't do that over there in the U.S. They're overcomplicated.
Davo says, we did get a Volkswagen minivan here about that size, but look quite different.
Mm, okay. And the steering wheel on the wrong side, of course. Here's a CrossFox, but mine was the newer model, and mine was Lamborghini yellow, which they charged me extra for that paint. But the owner's manual said when you open the hood, you have to let the hood just drop the hood. Don't push down on the hood because you'll dent the hood with your hand.
Hmm.
So I only kept that car a year. I did not want to be involved in any kind of accident with it or anything.
Dan says, Uber can go pound sand. Well, I agree, but also it's the only thing that we have here, so.
Yeah, how can you beat? It's like $2.25 to get across town in an Uber here.
Yeah.
It's like 50 pesos to get across town. So
Will the Drill says, been looking up the Mexican Super B. It's literally what the Dodge Aspen and Plymouth Volare could have been without the US emissions regulations. The 1976 through 1980 body style has a bad rep here.
yes, it does, and it wasn't a very well put together car from day one. My aunt and uncle bought a station wagon, a 76 Volare station wagon, and she drove out of the dealership, turned around, came right back, told them the horn doesn't work. It had to be like 10 minutes. They said, your husband messed with it. She says, if you knew my husband and he doesn't know a screwdriver from a wrench, you wouldn't be saying that. So they had to fix the car. And of course, we heard the stories about putting Plymouth parts on Dodges and Dodges on Plymouths, and they came out half breeds from the factory. But here in Mexico, they didn't produce so many cars, so they were able to take a little bit more time with each one of them. And we didn't have the rust here that they do in the U.S., so they're very very solid cars.
Mark says, my dad had bought a new 77 Mercury Monarch. The first oil change, the tech stripped the oil pan, so they installed this special rubber plug in its place instead of replacing the oil pan.
Good dealership there. My family also had a Monarch. For some reason, just one day, the rear end just dropped to the ground. Something happened with the rear. I don't know what happened with it. My dad got rid of the car after that. But it's not like we have rust in Southern California, so it was not a rust problem. Nothing broke from rust. So I don't know. He bought it a couple of years used, and we used it for a while. It was a pretty fully loaded car.
Mark says, same rule for Uber here as well, 10 years, but 20 years for Uber Eats.
Why would they even bother with the year on Uber Eats since people don't get into that vehicle? Just needs to get the food to the house. People here only use motorcycles for that. There's no cars that deliver food.
Barracuda says 1979 was a good year for pop songs.
Most of the 70s was. I've been listening to 70s songs. Oddly enough, I know all of them.
Dean says, I remember it well, Barry.
Did they sell the Mazda 2 over there in the US? This little thing here? Or was the smallest one the 3?
John Wilburn says, yes, my dad will smash a hood shut with his palms and dent it up. I dropped mine from a few inches up as not to do this, and he would always tell me I was wrong.
Well, that's what the owner's manual told me to do. So they knew that if you had your hand on the hood on this Volkswagen, it was so thin that you were going to leave a mark. So that doesn't bode well for an accident.
Barracuda says, and Honda motorcycle motocross bikes. Dan says, I use both arms to slam the hood on my dent side.
Yeah, you're not going to dent that hood, Dan. No way.
Dean says, the Iron Fist versus the Velvet Glove, John Wilburn. Versus the Velvet Glove? I don't know. Tabo says, Renault
Kangoo.
Kangoo.
Yeah, that's the delivery van for Renault. This is the perfect Uber car here, the Volkswagen Vento. It's not too big, not too small. It's the perfect size to get people in there, to get luggage in there, and a lot of them are used for taxis and for Uber and all the rest of the delivery services. So Volkswagen is doing a really good business selling these cars in Mexico for those services. A lot of the cars are on the road.
Kevin Smith says, catch you all later. Gotta get ready for model car live stream with God Fuels. Model car channel. Maybe see y'all there.
Okay, have a nice day, Kevin. Thank you for joining us.
He says 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern. Dean says the world needs more Kangos? Quangos? I don't know what that is.
Keep in mind, it's Dean Stevenson.
Yeah. Pablo Campos says Mazda 2. Yes.
They did sell it over there?
Mm.
Huh.
Cabo says Mazda 2 was hugely popular in Oz.
Yeah, because it's a smaller car.
Mark says, I think they had the Mazda 2 in Canada as well. Josh Human is here.
Hi, Josh. Thank you for joining us.
It's just good to be here. And then he says, yes, the girl next door had a Mazda 2, truly a toy.
Ah, okay. I didn't know that. That's why I included it.
Bob Campos says, many Mazda 2 cars were bright green.
Bright green.
Danny Boyd says, give me air cooled or give me Uber. Fair.
So are you going to take the radiator out of your dent side truck, Dan, and the 2005 Mustang? See how air cooled it can be?
Dean says, like the Series 1 RX-7.
What about it?
I don't know. Dan says, I want a Series 1 XR7.
That would be a Cougar.
Cougar?
Mm-hmm. 67 model.
Mark says, a long time ago, Volkswagen Jettas in Canada had an unlimited mileage warranty, so a lot of taxi drivers in Montreal bought them.
But that warranty was for commercial drivers? I find that hard to believe. That they would warranty a commercial vehicle like that.
Dan says, if I go air cooled, it's gonna be a Porsche 911. My bread.
You can't see me, Dan, but I'm shaking my head. Are you going to tell them what kind of bread you're eating?
I'm having a snack with the official bread of the town, which is women's bread or pan de mujer. It's so tasty.
No, it does not have actual women in it. She said women make it.
That's what it's called. Not sure why.
Like really Girl Scout cookies don't have real Girl Scouts in them. They're just sold by Girl Scouts.
Dean says Quango, British English, semi-public administrative body outside the civil service, but receiving financial support from the government, which makes senior appointments to it.
I am enriched.
Dr. Campos says one of my friends had a Mazda 2. It was noisy inside, road noise, like it had no insulation.
Yeah, that's possible. They cheap out on the smaller cars.
Pit Snipe Husker is here.
Hey, Pit Snipe. Thank you for joining us. This is a Fiat actually on the screen. that is sold at the Ram dealers. It's called a Ram 700. For 2025, they don't offer a stick shift in it anymore, so you have to buy an automatic. I wonder how far down their uh, their sales are going to go, because I would not trust an automatic in one of those, a Fiat automatic, when you have to use it for work.
It's now says there is no hope. Go big red. Now show me some weird cars already.
They're on the screen. How much weirder can you get than a Fiat pickup truck
Doesn't look
sold at
bad.
the Dodge dealer? I don't know. They move. I don't know. They put stuff back there. They haul stuff.
Mark says I agree with that, but there must have been a loophole for the warranty.
Yeah, maybe. Because usually when a car company offers a warranty like that, it's for the first buyer, not commercial, just the general public. And if the car sells, it voids the warranty. Kind of like the new Ram trucks are supposed to have a 10-year warranty, but only for the first buyer.
Dan says Porsche bread. And Pizza Husker says Mrs. Spec and her snacks are becoming a thing. Well, I just woke up. I have to eat something. Mr. Spec is like, here, wake up. We're doing a live. I'm just all groggy. I need my
What you
coffee.
already knew.
Yeah, but I'm still groggy. I need coffee and sustenance.
Your coffee has no caffeine, so it's not going to do you any good.
Shut up. If I don't know it, it doesn't matter. If I don't know it
It's all
doesn't matter.
psychological.
Yes. Dan says no kangs. Dean says, Spit Snipe, how do I know it's you? Quick says something only you will know. Spit Snipe says, agreed, good work, Spec. Thank you. Barry says, in New Zealand, early Mazda RX-7s were a rich man's car. There in the early 90s, the market was flooded with them. They got a lot more affordable.
They were always a cheap car. They didn't really sell for a lot of money. And the rotaries didn't last long, so what are you going to do?
You smell like chocolate.
Mm-hmm.
Dan says, Wallaby said no kangaroos. Buffalo Campo says, not much of a Dodge.
Nope, it's not. And they also sell a Ram 1200, which I'm not really sure who makes it for Dodge, but it's not a domestic product. It's probably a Fiat as well. So you got a small Ram truck, a medium Ram truck, and the full size Ram trucks, plus the vans and all the rest of the stuff they sell for work.
Lester says, Fiat's rebranded by Stellantis. Boo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they do sell a lot of them here though. You could get it in a 2-door. You can get it in a 4-door with a very small bed, and they're not that expensive, so people do buy them.
Josh Homan says, she's human. She has to eat like the rest of us. See?
I didn't say not to eat. When did I say not to eat? I just told you, tell them what you are eating.
Dan says, Timey Wallaby down might. What are you guys talking about?
The gin could not have affected you that fast, Dan.
Sorry, Dean and Pit Sniper are having a conversation about something weird. But Dan is also talking weird. Barry says, I wouldn't like to hit a kangaroo in an RX-7.
I think it will just flow right over the hood. If you're talking about a first generation, the front end like comes to a point, and the kangaroo will just slip over the hood, over the windshield, and fly off the back.
Would a cow do that?
No, the cow's just gonna fall right onto the hood and windshield and kill you. Because of the weight.
But the kangaroos are heavy too.
Not that heavy. Especially if you're going fast. Maybe it'll come through the windshield.
Tabo, how heavy are kangaroos?
Tavo is not Google.
No, but he has a phone and I don't. Tavo says, is that little Chevy made in Mexico or imported?
It's made in Mexico. And this is a Peugeot van, which they're all probably the same, just sold at different manufacturers, but it has a Peugeot emblem on the front.
Snap answered something only I would know. The thrust bearing clearance on a Worthington feed pump is 0.008 inches. No more, no less. Just that.
Now, how's Dean gonna know that's true?
Mark says a compression tester for a I can't say that word.
Rotary.
Yeah, but I can't say that word.
Rotary.
Le puedo decir en español rotary, pero no puedo decirle en inglés. No sé por qué. Was over 1600. Nobody wants to buy one of the tests to test those engines.
But Buff rebuilt them. Buff had a rotary shop, Mark. So he must have had something there to test it.
Very good. This is Rolf Harris song. You guys are weird today. I don't even know what you guys are talking about. Dan says weird hour starts early here. I see. Yeah, yeah. That's what I'm saying. Business says I convinced my hometown bank to give me an auto loan in my senior year for an '83 RX-7. Lol. I flogged that rotary pig. I can't say that word. I'm sorry.
83 had the newer style taillights in the back.
That was it. Kangaroo is heavy enough to bend the A pillar on a big SUV. My sister-in-law just hit one in her Ford Territory the other day. Car is written off.
The Territory is a Chinese car, so maybe it was because of that.
I don't know. I think kangaroos are pretty heavy.
Yeah, there's a lot of mass to them, but if you're talking about a wedge shaped car, it'll just flow right over.
Mm-hmm. Dance Peugeot is a pretender to the Sprinter.
It's probably the exact same van, Dan. They just put a different front end on it and sell it at a different dealership. Why would they go through the trouble of making their own when they could just buy the Sprinter and throw their front end on?
Now that is just being mean. He's trying to make me say that word just for the hell of it.
Then say I had a dial-up phone until 1981.
Oh, dial-up.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that
Dial,
okay?
not push
Dial-up
buttons.
phone. I had a dial-up phone until 1981. That says that Peugeot van is sold here with a Renault badge.
Yeah.
Bob del Campo says we knew when. Yeah, Bob, are you having fun as well?
He had the rotary shop. He's allowed to say it. We knew when rotaries were bad. Water in the combustion chamber.
Thank you. That says no Australian territory. No Australian territory. Falcon based big SUV.
Oh well, it's a Chinese SUV here. Say it, the Territory.
So it wasn't because it was a Chinese car. It was because the kangaroos are big. See, there you go.
That could be.
I win. Business says we had one until the early 90s, then on a party line, no less. What's a party line?
A whole bunch of people were on the line and talking, and it wasn't a dedicated line.
Mm. Dan says when your wankle becomes a wanker.
Yeah, the man that made the rotary engine was called Wankel. That was his name, Wankel. So it's a Wankel engine. But because it spins like this, people call it a rotary. Maybe it spins this way. I'm not sure. All you guys know what a SEAT is?
This way.
SEAT.
Dan says surprised there were still party lines back then. Party lines then. Prisnab says 5 different phones at 3 different houses rang every time somebody called.
That had to be fun.
Pablo Campos says Felix Wanko,
Mm-hmm.
and then he says Spanish car.
Yeah, it is a Spanish car, but it's owned by Volkswagen, so it's very similar to the Volkswagen products. But their top of the line performance car, the Cupra, they don't even call it a SEAT anymore. They call it like it's its own brand, Cupra. They're kind of weird when you see them on the highway.
Prisnab says we were out on in the sticks, Dan. Because I wasn't reading your messages, you were talking to each other. What do you want me to read? That says
No, he's talking about his phone line because he was way out in the middle of nowhere. It all went through the same thing.
Oh, okay. That says Spanish Volkswagen Seat, we pronounce it in Oz as Seat.
We don't.
Mark
The E sound doesn't have that. The E doesn't have that sound in Spanish. Yeah.
Seat. Mark says a guy I work with at a Mazda dealer said rotary had a miss, might be an apex seal was stuck. So he said to just red line it for about 5 minutes to free it up.
Yeah, you can't over rev them. So what's the worst that could happen?
Dan says seal engine again, Tony.
Are there Tonys in Spain? That would be Antonio. So that would be SEAA.
Bob Del Campo says interesting dash.
Here's a little Renault, the one I was talking about that has horrible back seats, and it went to a different car. This is the Cupra that I was talking about, Seat Cupra, but it doesn't have the Seat emblem on there anymore. It has the Cupra thing on the dash, on the steering wheel, not Seat anymore.
Dan says Renault.
Yeah, Renault Kwid. KWID. When I see that on the Uber application, the app, like, oh no, not again.
Cancel.
Have to get into another one.
Mark says, correct, Max. Worst that can happen is you needed an engine rebuild anyway, so give it a try first.
Mm-hmm.
Dan says, the T ain't silent in these parts. Instead of Pit Snipe says, yep, suave. Lol, I threw half a pan full.
Sauve.
Oh.
His name is Sauve.
But he says suave here.
Yeah, his last name looks like Suave, but it's Sauve.
Yeah, no, but it's a suave here.
Mm-hmm.
No sauve, like here.
But he's talking to Mark.
Yeah, but I didn't know that, did I? That's a Spanish word, so I just said it. Pitsnipe says, yep, suave. Lol, I threw half a pan of full diesel fuel into my oil and ran her hard for a few miles. Drain. Mobile one refill. Life was good again. Lol. Barracuda says, I've heard that the Mitsubishi Pajero makes Spanish people giggle. Yes, it does actually.
Pajero?
Pajero is not Mexican, but it is from farther somewhere, like, I don't know, from the southern Americas.
Suave is what, soft?
Yeah, but Pajero, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, and don't quote me on this because I don't know. I'm Mexican. I'm not. I think it means. Can I say this in stream?
Sure.
It means to jack off.
Suave?
No, pajero.
Oh, pajero. I don't know. I've never heard that word used.
Yeah, because it's not a Mexican word.
Yeah, okay.
It's not a Mexican word.
So Mitsubishi put that on their vehicles in other countries?
Mm. Fitznab says, I spelled it wrong, Mrs. Spec, my bad. No problem. I read it as I said.
This is a cute little car. 1960 Fiat Spider.
Dan says, suave es rico, no es Mark. No, suave is soft.
Soft, yeah. Like your toilet paper is suave.
Or your blankie.
They use that word suave on toilet paper. Yeah.
Your favorite blankie. Mark says, should stick an S in front of the quid emblem. Squid?
Squid.
Dan says, looks like a Rolls Royce kit car built on Volkswagen bus chassis. Dan says, Vaquero. Is that a car name or are you just saying words?
Just saying cowboy.
Okay. Business says, lol, okay, we not safe for work now. I guess. Were we ever?
We're not at work anyway.
Pisnap says rico, suave. But I guess it mean, what you said right now is it's like, how do I translate this into proper English? It's like,
Name Rico Suave.
is it?
Yes.
Ah, okay, okay, never mind then. I was gonna translate it for you, but since it's the name, it doesn't matter. Dan says vaquero means cowboy. I know what vaquero means. Who are you talking to?
He's telling everybody else.
Okay, I'll allow it. Mark says to pit snipe job. My buddy at a wrecking yard inquired about testing a rotary with a miss. I told him to try the red line trick. If the mist goes away, they can sell the engine. Of the
Hmm.
Campo says 60 olds.
Yeah, that's what it is. With Cadillac wheel covers,
Hmm.
which is really weird because you need special rims to put those 1975, 1974 wheel covers on. So he got the special wheels to put those wheel covers on.
Where is that one?
Really weird. Hmm?
Where is that one?
It's got Jalisco plates,
Hmm. It reminded me of where we
but
picked
it
up
has a
the.
Chevy 350 in it, so they've already taken the Oldsmobile engine out of it.
It reminds me of where we picked up the Plymouth.
Plymouth.
Yep.
Oh yeah, probably way up in the hills. It is very red. Love the steering wheel
Hmm.
and the dash. when they actually
That
did
guy wants to be in every picture,
when they
doesn't he?
actually styled things.
He's
So I
photobombing the
wonder what
car.
color the car was before they painted it red though. They wouldn't put a blue seat in a red car. It's got red upholstery on that side and blue upholstery on this side.
Hmm.
Well, somebody's had their hands in this car, but man, that steering wheel's great.
Dan says, I am pobre slave. You're playing with
Pobre
words.
suave.
I don't know what that means. Dan says again, or Slav E, as it were. Mark says shouldn't, so shouldn't, not should. Lol. Are you trying to press my English
Does
at all?
anybody want a two-door sedan 62 Savoy to turn into a NASCAR race car? This one has a windshield. It's ready to go. Got a 4-speed on the. They put a 4-speed in it, and it's a shifter on the floor.
Krishna says agreed, Sobe. Risk loan, it was like Ajax in STP. It would scour an engine and free everything up. It was particularly effective in rotaries. I'm having better luck saying that word.
Mm-hmm.
I had to loosen my tongue. Mark says 26-inch steering wheel long.
The bigger, the better.
That's what they say.
That's what they say.
Dan says Culpepper car.
Yep. No, he had the. He didn't have a 62. It is 62. Yeah, it was made in 62. Yeah, that had to be his car. He had the Dodge. It's a mad, 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 mad world.
Chris Snipe says, why do I have to
Spanish.
translate it? I know it's Spanish. Now I have to hit you. Why?
Why are you not? You come to Spanish and you're stumped. Why
No,
didn't you just
I
read it?
wasn't stumped. I was wondering why do I have to say that? I was just gonna say like why do I have to say your crazy thoughts? His crazy thoughts.
Mm.
Do I have to say it?
No,
Thank you. Mark says I thought that was a Corvair with all those taillights. With those taillights.
no.
Mark, sorry, Dan says almost as funky. Mark. Dan says corn binder. Mark says to Dan true. Lester says I thought Culpepper had a dart.
I think it was a Dart. It had the two different headlights at different alturas, different heights. I gotta stay in English. Yeah, it wasn't that car. It wasn't the Savoy. He had a Dodge.
Very good. That says I went with a friend when he test drove a 394 uh, cylinder or
Cubic inch.
cubic inch. I was wondering why it was CI. 394 cubic inch, 59 Oldsmobile 98 with a what a torque monster.
Yeah. The transmission kind of let it down though. Turbo hydromatic, I think it had. Yes, this is an early Opel record, early 60s.
Here, hold this for a minute.
The early 60s or some later 60s that were here too. Mark
Hey,
Soler,
where did Jay went?
he's going out with his family.
Ah, okay. So
Mark
he just
Sauvé.
went to say hi.
International trucks are often referred to as binders, aka a corn binder, because International also made farm equipment. Yeah, but when do you see a big International like that in nice condition in a place that doesn't restore vehicles? It just looked too nice not to include it. Opel, up to 160 kilometers per hour in that Opel. Yeah,
These lives are
no
gonna
thanks.
turn into watching cars and eating snacks.
Well, that's what we do. So, does everybody have their snack? Sorry, Scoop isn't here to drop his snack. Hi, Chris.
Which Chris?
Why are you here? It's Chris's anniversary.
What are you doing here?
Yeah. We'll say happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary. What are you doing here?
26,000 kilometers. Can you believe that on an early 60s record? I don't either.
Chris says, where's my chocolate churro? I don't have a chocolate churro today. I have pan de mujer, which is woman's bread. It's the local bread of the town. What do you call it? It's like each town has its own bread, and this is the bread for this town.
Mhm.
Not for this town, for this
The local style of bread they
state.
make.
It's a state bread. State bread? I don't know.
There's even literature for this car.
Chris says, thanks, taking a break from the anniversary festivities. Are you just taking a drink? Are you taking a breath and having some water? Sorry. Dan says, I've gone to 100 kilometers per hour in Fox 5.0 Mustangs.
It's 120 miles per hour.
Tavo says, some old international trucks from the 60s, 70s here. Farmers hold on to them, only use them a couple of weeks a year. Mark says, are you saying 160 miles per hour in that Opel because it shows it on the speedo? It can't. Maybe it can't hit 160 though. Who knows, though?
Mark, it's 160 kilometers per hour. And no, it won't hit that either. No way. Not with the four-cylinder engine.
Dan says, I love bread. Bread is pretty good. I can only have it once a week. Lester says, I just had ice cream for a snack. Ooh, ice
Oh, I want
cream.
ice cream.
What flavor?
If it's not chocolate, don't answer, Lester.
You can answer. You're not gonna eat it, so it doesn't matter. Dean says the SI units for kilometers per hour is kilometers/hour. I don't know what that means. Fitzner says we call them bricks, Sobe. You can't kill them. Run one on a farm for 300 kilometers and pull everything on used oil from the coop. It leaked so much we just kept adding.
That would be 300,000 miles. 300K. K is 1,000.
Oh,
Not kilometers.
sorry. Mark Sobe says, lol, okay. Chris says, I went 160 kilometers an hour in a Ford Escort on the Autobahn.
Why was there a Ford Escort on the Autobahn? It is not a German car.
Mark Sobe says, I've been 135 miles per hour in less than 10 seconds. That was a rush.
Mm. Yeah, you were a racer, Mark.
Dean says, Australians and Kiwis always get this wrong. People like Dean E. Boyd are immune to criticism. Lester says, mint chocolate chip. There
Oh
you
yeah,
go.
I'll go for that.
There you
There's
go.
chocolate in there.
Mm-hmm.
I like mint chocolate chip, especially from Thrifties.
Dean says, even CF gets a prize. Who's CF? Mm,
Don't look,
I
just
don't know. CF. Um, Dan says, I am good too with criticism. With criticism.
I'm too good for criticism.
Sorry.
And he won't remember it tomorrow anyway. Yes, Chris, European Ford Escort. But again, what was it doing in Germany
Autobahn.
when it's an English car?
Barry says, I've been sideways at 90 miles per hour in a 68 Mercury Cougar.
That's not a good thing. The wheels face forward.
Dan says, Rocky Road.
Nah, I can't eat that anymore. The really cold almonds in there hurt my teeth.
Mark says, yep, I was a racer and that 135 miles per hour was in a super gas Ford Pinto with a small block Chevy.
Got the Pinto for the win.
I think I'm talking too loud. Am I talking too loud? I was talking to you.
No.
Okay. Davos says, depends on the Escort. MK2 76 to 81 was a German British car. Had the 2-liter Pinto as an option.
They sold Escort. They sold Capris. I don't know. They sold the Escort Tavo. The Capri was over there.
Mean Street Mopars here. Is
Hi,
this
Ken. Thank you for joining us.
Ken?
Yeah, Mean Street Mopar is Ken.
Mm.
That's not really his name, Mean Street Mopar.
I know.
Okay, just checking.
Dan says to Barry, nice. I had my old 68 Cougar sideways at much lower speeds.
Chris, are you still here to see this pink Volkswagen with a split window? I put it in here just for you. It's the perfect car for your wife.
It is really pretty.
Yeah. But they put the small split window in the back.
Mm. Dean says Dan E-Boyster transcends any criticism.
Transcends.
Transcends. Dan says split window. Barracuda says I don't know how it didn't flip.
Mm. It didn't hit a rock. No, this is not an original split window. This is a 68 or 69 model that they put the split window in there, which kind of limits how much you can see out the back. So I'm not sure if it's really a good thing, but it looks pretty decent.
Dean says MSM.
Mean Street Mopar.
Maybe. Chris says to Mark Sobe, good afternoon. So he's still here. You can see the pink of Volkswagen.
Yep.
Mark Sobe says, lol, Mary Kay pink.
Yeah, pretty close. Just sign her name on the back of it, Mary Kay, and go for it.
Dan is messing with Sobe. Bitsnipe says, lol, Sobe, that was the price for the worst Mary Kay sales rep. Dan says coral. Or
Coral.
coral.
No,
Well,
it looks pink to me. Coral has a little bit of orange in it.
Bob del Campo says, yeah, Mrs. Mopar looked at her newborn baby son and decided to name him Mean Street. Maybe, you don't know.
That would have been a hell of a name to go through school with, though.
Josh says, nice pink car, definitely woman owned. You don't know
I
that.
certainly hope so, Josh. It was probably a man that built it for a woman.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Dean says European headlamps.
No, Mexican headlights. Those that was used here.
Mark says, oh, interesting emblem on the dash of that Beetle. It's nice says, my mom joined the Mary Kay cult for a while, lost most of her friends, lol.
Like, don't call me ever again.
That was says, a real car.
A Valiant, yes. A two-door hardtop Valiant Tavo,
You don't have.
which is the car they didn't sell in the U.S. This is Mexico only.
Drew says, that Beetle didn't run on gasoline, it ran on estrogen.
Kind of hard to come by these days. Estrogen.
Mm-hmm.
It is.
And Dean says, non American headlamps.
That's much better, Dean. Yes, that is the way it is.
And Dan says, the Amway of cosmetics.
Yes, but at least with Mary Kay, there were women out there that would actually buy the product.
Dr. Spec is here.
Dr. Spec, Junior Spec.
Are you gonna stay
Hello.
this time, or are you just passing by to say hello?
I'm sure he's just lurking in the background because he said he knows nothing about cars, so he doesn't speak to anybody. But we talk about other things besides cars.
Like bread.
So what are you doing in school, Dr. Spec? Tell us what you're doing in school.
And Josh says, I noticed the speedometer is broken. Otherwise, nice car.
I didn't look. I didn't notice that. I don't have it for sale. It's just these are pictures that I took off the internet to show you guys.
Wait. Sorry.
This is a special Opel because it was made in 1968, and it was just about the only car that commemorated the Olympics in Mexico, the '68 Mexico Olympics. It says right on the side of the car "Olímpico," which is, of course, Spanish for Olympics.
Dr. Spec says, I don't have friends. Aww.
Then who did you go to Wamuchil with? You went with 9 of your friends.
Yeah, you said you were with friends. So
Uh-huh.
you lied to us?
You better not be lying to us.
Dean says Mexican Spec needs new glasses. He does too.
It does. I do, but how do you know that?
Because he didn't tell you that.
Is there a camera in here or something? Are you watching us?
That was it until 1969. If you wanted a two-door Valiant down under, only choice was an Ute. And then in 69, we got the third hardtop body with the Valiant front.
Yeah, so pretty close. But the Valiant two-door hardtop was not sold in the U.S. They were all sedans. So it's kind of different to see it.
Mark Tobey says, tell me that pic is out of proportion.
Which pic?
I don't know. Chris says he's taking a break from playing Dead by Daylight on Steam. I think he plays Repo. I don't think he plays Dead by Daylight.
He might have changed. I don't know the difference.
You don't even know what I'm talking about. Wait. Prisna says, I'm your friend, Doc. Ignore them. Mark says,
Here's the emblem on it, showing the Olympic torch on the side of the car. They really went all out.
Mark says, Dr. Spec, lucky you. Do not have any friends. Dean says, it has a batch bar. Dr. Spec says to Dean, how do you know I need new glasses?
We all need new glasses.
Fair.
It's an easy thing to say because we always need new glasses.
Everyone in this family needs new glasses. Chris Knife says, dog was out with a trollop. Lie, boy, lie. I don't know what that is. Ow, my side.
You don't want to know what it is.
Okay. Dean says, all I see is green.
As it should be, Dean.
Lester says, Dean does remote viewing. Mark says, the first Opel pick. Opal, opal,
Yeah, OPEL.
opal, opal.
Opal. OPAL is a stone, isn't it?
Yeah, OPAL. Tavo says that opal shares so many lines with the first Holden Monaro, or it's probably the other way. Fitzknife says Pit equals the tío you don't invite to stuff.
The only car is that type of car that people want is the one from Brazil, the Opala. Opala?
Huh?
Yeah. APOLLA, which came in a 2-door, a 4-door, or a station wagon. The Brazil car is the only one that people want. It has an inline 6-cylinder in it.
Um, Dean says Opal, obviously Irish. And
No commenting on that one.
Dan says the older you get, the more new glasses you need. Yes.
Yeah, which I haven't done in quite a while.
Dan says Opal is Jamestone, I believe. Yes.
Yeah,
It's
that's
a
what I said. It's
gemstone.
a stone. It's like diamonds and rubies and
Well, it's a
sapphires and
cheaper stone, but yes.
yeah. Well, I didn't say the price.
Pesnife says I often wear two pairs of glasses at the same time in the shop. It works.
I need to go get my eyes checked and get new glasses and everything. I didn't get glasses until 1989. I didn't have any glasses in school, didn't have any glasses when I got my first driver's license or anything. And after I got my first pair of glasses, and I'm like, oh my God, I can read the street signs. I didn't know that was a possibility. It really helped. It really helps when you read road signs and what things say and stuff. It helps a lot when you're driving, believe it or not.
Dean says Tavo. Dean says Tavo has some under his house. I'll bet some opals.
Hey, Dr. Spec, for the Christmas vacation, how many weeks of vacation do you get? I think it's 3 weeks, right? We're already looking forward to the next vacation.
Yeah.
And Tava was asking me about this car last time, the Renault 10 that has the square headlights. And apparently, yes, we did get them in Mexico. And this one seems to be a nice one.
He says like 2 or 3 weeks.
I think it's 3 weeks.
Hold on.
Because hopefully I'm going to set up a sale so you and I can go on another trip and bring a car back.
Can I go as well?
I don't know.
Mark says my wife does that. Lester says now I need new glasses every year. Yeah, definitely. Dan says yeah, I can't read no street signs no more.
I just figure the batteries are dying on my glasses because they don't work as well as they used to.
Bitsnipe says 2.0 magnification is my daily. I need 3.0 when I read, when I'm judging crosshatch. I need both.
Oh, jeez.
I don't know my magnification on my glasses, but I do know I have one problem with one eye and one problem with the other, so they're always expensive. We got, as Dean says, we got Skoda's 105.
You said you liked this car, right?
Yeah.
With the big giant fenders in the front.
Mm-hmm. That was it. I can read street signs from a long way off. Up close is when I need good glasses.
Mm. So you're farsighted.
Dan says I like to double up on reading glasses for soldering and fine work like that.
Soldering.
This is soldering.
Yeah, well, but it's pronounced soldering.
Oh.
Renault 4, anybody?
What
R4. It's a little delivery vehicle, the Renault 4.
Well, obviously, but
yeah. Now they look very different.
Mark says Mexican spec level batteries dying on your glasses. X-ray vision?
Unfortunately, no.
Dan says beauty javelin.
Mm-hmm. Interesting color too.
And Chris says, wait, streets have signs?
Some of them do. Less in Mexico. You drive around, there's no street signs, there's nothing. So I don't know before GPS how anybody ever found anything.
Pitsnap says, so cross-eyed, no wonder you struggle with rotaries. I'm not cross-eyed. I have like I don't know what the word is in English, but I have myopia in one eye and astigmatism in the other. So there's that. Bitzknife says, I'm evil for that. I'm sorry. And Josh Homan says, looks like an old English panel van.
They probably did use them over there, but definitely in France, where Renault is from.
Tabo says, we do actually include the L in solder down here, as do the British. See? See?
But you drive on the wrong side, so that cancels it out.
Stop.
Most of these Renaults are small cars because in Europe they don't have very big streets, especially in the really, really old cities. So, that little delivery van, the little blue delivery van, it's very narrow, so it could go anywhere and deliver anything, and that's what they needed.
Like the K cars. Like the K cars. K cars?
K cars. Oh, you mean the Japanese K cars? Oh, not the Chrysler K cars.
No. Dean says dashboard gear change R4. And then he says like Northern Ireland. Fitzknife says looks like a bomb casing. Bob del Campo says little tailgate at the top. Weird. Tabu says Renault 12 had a lot of those here, even made here.
There's a lot of them here too, but a lot of them are in really bad condition. So to find one that looks this good is really hard, especially in black. Black is really hard to keep in nice condition. But I like the composite headlights on these. It looks interesting.
Dean says only cute people have that, Mrs. Mexican Spec. Oh, thank you. And Barry says I saw a sign that said long-haired freaky people need not apply. This knife says stuck my hair up into my head. Is that a song? Or a story?
I don't know, but he does have long hair. He hasn't had a haircut in a long time.
Tabo says, don't see them here at all now. They all rusted away.
Yes, it is a sign.
A sign of what?
This looks like a Valiant Duster. And I was corrected on Facebook that after 1970, I think, they didn't use the name Plymouth here. So this is actually, the make is Valiant, the model is Duster. This is a 1976 that has the Plymouth Valiant front end and the Dodge Dart Sport rear end on it. So it's a mix and match.
It is a song.
This one is not in Mexico. It's in Arkansas. A Plymouth Arrow. They want $5,000 for it, and it would be a really good drag car. Oops, back to the Duster.
Everyone's like, Arrow.
Yeah, very hard to find those. There's one here in Mexico too, but it's not as nice as this one. And it's the later one with the square headlights and the turn signals in the grill instead of the round headlights and the turn signals that were bolted to the bumper because they forgot to design it into the car. But yeah, this one's in Arkansas on Facebook, and it looks pretty good. Looks like Toyota wheels, though, if I'm correct.
So what is the song that Dan is singing? It is a song. Josh Homan says, a lot of these cars are so small you probably could tuck them into a hat.
Tuck them into what?
Tuck them into a hat.
Oh, yeah.
His snap says, Senora Spec. I think it's saying Senora. That's the wrong end, though. Let me.
I just see this was an automatic Arrow.
Yeah. Okay.
They don't have that N on their keyboards.
That's not my fault. Sam says, I just remembered the word senora. I repressed it. What? Why?
Repressed it?
Repressed it. And Tao says that Arrow was a Chrysler Lancer down here. Right down under.
It was.
Lancer. That was a Mitsubishi import. Oh, my legs.
And here's a beautiful truck. Notice the tail lights and the tailgate and the side of the bed on this 1979 Ford.
Barry says, I saw another sign on a building that just said, I'm not going to say the word. Mark says, the song Signs, 5-man electrical band song. Dan says, good eye, Mexican Spec, Toyota wheels. Fitzknife said, my first quotations car was the 76 Skylark that was getting an engine replacement. I bought a 77 Arrow for $100 that was all clogged up from unleaded fuel.
Aromatic, yes.
Like the
Now these tail lights are from the older truck because the newer, bigger ones were never used in Mexico, and there's no side marker lights on this truck. They were not used in Mexico. Very nice truck, though.
Chris Knife says 1.8 liter
Mitsubishi.
Mark says, where are the backup lights?
It didn't have any.
Mark says, I like the color combo on that truck.
It really calls your attention. Not going to you say that for John?
No.
That therapist should have hired a better sign maker.
What if I refuse to say it? What would you say?
There's no reason not to. It's a therapist.
Mm-hmm. It's my cat.
Chris.
Which Chris?
Chris in New York. How many years is it?
Oh, how many years of
is your anniversary?
My nose is really itchy today.
28 years.
Wow.
Wow. That's the long haul. So what do you give your wife on a 30th anniversary?
Isn't that gold?
It has to be something good, right? Gold is 50th, I think.
Mm.
Or one of them, 75 is diamonds, I
think. You're so rude. Chris is probably a convertible, but don't tell her that.
Is that the official thing? Because there's a list, you know.
Mark says whatever she wants.
But there's a list that says on this year, the first year is paper, second year is this, so 30 years that, and 30 years, I don't know what it is, but it's out there somewhere. Yeah, it's a nice truck, Josh. And not a bad price either. They want 200,000 pesos for it.
Tabo says, is that Hilux called Hilux in Mexico?
No, this is just a Toyota pickup because it was imported from the U.S. The 4x4 gives it away. And Toyota didn't start selling vehicles here until 2001, but they didn't start selling trucks until 2003. So all these older Toyotas were imported from the U.S. 30 years is what?
What? Chris says 30 years is, let me look it up, a Caribe GT for the husband.
I don't think the list has anything on there for husbands. It's supposed to be all for the wives. On the first year of paper, you can join in because it would be like plane tickets to wherever, even though it's more cardboardish. And they don't even do paper tickets anymore. But you can just go with it. But the rest of them, everything is for the wife.
This Chris says you're looking at the wrong list then.
Well, I want to see the list for the men then. I don't think one exists.
Mark says 28th anniversary gift is linens, and Lester says 30 years is pearls.
Pearls. Ooh.
Who came up with this list? I don't understand.
Probably Hallmark.
Yeah. Or no. We're like, what is it? What is the name of that store? Woolworth. back
No,
in the day when they
no,
used
it
to
would be
be
like
huge.
Hallmark that does the greeting cards and stuff.
How would they? Well, yeah, because first day is
30 years
safer.
is a buyback.
Barry says, "How did you get the Barry Crump Hilux TV advertisements there?" And Chris says, "Pearls. How about a pearl white Caribbean GT?"
I'll do that for you.
Bob del
I'll find one, paint it pearl white, put the stickers on the side because I can get those. Nice.
Bob del Campo says, "Is it a year for Chrome?"
Chrome. I
Maybe.
don't think so because that wouldn't be something a woman would want.
You don't know.
Look how nice this car is, though. This is the same thing we got for Adrian.
Mm-hmm.
Adrian
No,
Thomas.
Thomas.
Yeah. And this car coming up is the nicest Gremlin that I have ever seen for sale here.
If they are in order. That
The nicest Gremlin.
Tabo says to Barry, "Is that the Bugger series of ads?" Sorry, my hand got tired of being out there.
See the little van on the center cap there?
Mm-hmm.
Only Mexico had those those caps. But this is a beautiful car. Too bad it's an automatic. But Gremlin X.
Chris says, "Nice for a gremlin."
Gremlins are good. Gremlins are great. You put a Vega and a Pinto and a Gremlin next to each other, you've got a 4-cylinder that doesn't run, a dependable 4-cylinder, and you've got a 6-cylinder or maybe a V8. So the Gremlin wins every time. And they're great on the highway.
Chris says, "My father had a gremlin."
Was that good or bad?
Is it giving you bad memories?
When a Gremlin is in bad condition, it's bad. But a nice one is a very pleasant car to drive.
Barracuda says, "No earlier than those, but you obviously got the Bugger ads over there." Okay, so no, earlier than those, but you obviously got the Booger ads over there.
80,000 kilometers on this car, which is 40,000 miles, 50,000 miles.
What is that squid doing there?
It's not a squid, it's a bent. It's showing air coming in. We have the same thing on this car.
It's a squid.
The black car out here is the same as this.
It's a squid.
The seats give me a headache, but still. Everything is just so nice on this.
Chris says, "Had the 304 V8. It was horrible to drive in the winter."
Well, you can't blame the car for that. The car should have been in California, not in New York.
Mm-hmm. Fitzknife says, "The X-rated Gremlin. How has nobody made this movie?"
Because nobody wants to see a gremlin without clothes. And actually, if you watch the movie, there is one that opens up his coat to show you everything and wiggles around. So that's kind of X-rated.
Automático.
Now, the question for that movie is, how did all of the gremlins take on human characteristics and human mannerisms so quickly because they had just been created? How did any of that even happen?
Mm-hmm.
But the best reason to watch that movie is Phoebe Cates. The best reason.
Fitzknife says, "Sounds like Leprechaun."
No, Leprechaun was a different thing. Leprechaun had Jennifer Aniston in it, and it was a horror movie, and he was just nasty.
I was dreaming with Jennifer Aniston.
Why?
I have no idea. I was dreaming that I was on a film set and she was there, and I was invited to watch the film and stuff. Anyway, Chris says, "How does a 1.5-year-old infant learn to speak a language?"
By listening and copying.
Lester says, "When we saw a gremlin for the first time, my dad said Nash always made ugly cars."
Now, on this car, pay attention to the front end being Ford Crown Victoria, and then look at the rear end of the car.
Puppy.
Dog not included.
Oh.
Unless you pay extra. Now here's the rear end of it. It says Country Squire right there next to the Mercury taillights. That's how the car was sold in Mexico. This is actually a pretty nice car if you put the decent set of wheels or a matching set of wheel covers on it. Starting to rust. Yeah, that'll have to be cleaned up there.
His name says Nash made gloriously ugly cars.
Yep. The bathtub was a really nice car. Nobody had front fender wells like that.
Chris says can't go wrong with tuft seats.
Tufted.
Tufted.
Yeah, it has all the pillows on it.
I don't know. My nose is really itchy. I don't know why. I can't stop scratching it.
I'm sure the internet will tell you. Your nose itches when you're lying. Your nose itches when this or that. Who knows? Here you go, Buff. Here's your Mustang. Dean, if this car is still for sale, this is probably the one that we're going to get. It's not the cheapest one, but it's the prettiest one.
Snap says the hubcaps don't even match in that wagon.
Nope, that's why I said it needs a set of wheels or it needs a set of matching wheel covers. The front wheel covers were for the car. The rear wheel covers were taken off a truck or something.
Bob Del Campo says, I see it.
Yep, beautiful car. We'd have to change out the taillights, though. I don't like the 87 LX taillights on it. We'll have to get the real taillights that it should have had.
Dan says, that looks nice. Then the camera's too close.
I'm skipping over these.
I'm not. Mark says, Hear your nose itches means you're about to kiss a fool. Well, maybe.
Chris, there's only one fool here.
I wasn't gonna say it. Chris says, your nose itches when your husband is about to buy you a convertible. I work with scientists, so it must be true.
We already have a convertible in the backyard.
That's not a convertible if it doesn't work.
And we don't do convertibles here because it's too hot.
Barracuda says my nose itches because of nasal hairs. No, it itches on the outside, like the tippy top of my nose. I don't know why.
So Dean, do you like the color combination? The blue and the, I guess, camel color on the inside? Big, tall gear shift lever for some reason. I don't know. That can be changed. Doesn't need to be that tall. I pull my nasal hairs out so it doesn't tickle me.
But it's not my inside of my nose tickling me.
I pull them out with a tweezers.
Are you showing off?
No. It's a hobby for me. Ear hair and nose hair.
And Barracuda says I have a hairy nose.
It's supposed to be a filter for, depending where you live.
Pollutants.
It filters out stuff.
Pollutants? How do you say?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Look how nice this wagon is too, and being an old Renault, it's amazing that the car even exists in this condition, and with the nice wheels and everything else, stock wheels.
Okay. Bisnap says when the cats start playing with my nose hair, then I know it's time to trim. Chris says I don't need to hear about your nasal issues. I agree. I concur. Dan says Renault.
Yep. I've never actually started one or driven one, so I don't know, what the engine sounds like or anything or how they drive. But I would prefer the wagon to the four-door sedan if given a choice. It looks so nice.
Chris says rims on that Renault are cold.
Yeah, they were stock on the car. People here don't change things out. There's no culture of having to put huge rims and stuff on these cars. So the rims are just as old as the car is. People just put tires on them. There's no reason to change wheels out and spend money on that. Why are there two seats in there? Two different seats.
Different colors.
One seat was redone, the other one was not.
Finally.
Yep.
Business says crackers would be better. And Barry
Gregors.
crackers.
I don't agree with that, but everybody has their opinion.
And Barry says, "How am I growing issues? Please don't."
Which car is this? The Renault? Yeah, the Renault. The hood opens forwards. Interesting. I don't know anybody that knows how to work on a Renault though. I'm sure there's mechanics out there that still know, but who knows?
Mark Sobes says, "I had to look up Nogales because you said you delivered to the Nogales border. I said to myself, if Nogales is Nogales in Mexico or USA. Here I found out it is in both."
Yes, it is.
Yep.
The border runs right through the middle of the city. You can take, like from Phoenix, you could get on the bus line to Fesa, and it'll take you to the Nogales, Arizona side. But if you want to go to the Mexican side, you stay on the bus, and it'll take you to the bus station on the Mexican side. So you don't have to deal with the border or anything else. You just have your paperwork there, and you can just go. I mean, they don't even check anything, but you can just go into Mexico.
Well, don't tell them that just in case they do.
No,
check
you have to
for
have
nothing.
you have to have a passport to get out. They check
Yeah.
your bag and stuff, but they don't check, paperwork. You have to have the passport to get back out.
John Wilburn says Kragers are okay but heavy. They don't hold up to weather either. You really have to want that look. What are Kragers?
You remember the wheels that were on the 81 Impala? The 5-spoke chrome ones that are all broken?
No.
I still have the wheels out there.
Okay.
But I've never had a nice set of Kragers. They were always old, rusted, broken. So I am not a fan, and I'm not a fan of the slots either,
When you
which
say
everybody wants.
when you say wheels, the only one I remember like like exactly like it's ingrained in my brain are the ones that had a bunch of iron rods across it because you made me clean each and every one
You
of
mean the
those.
wire wheel covers?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I hated those.
Well, if I get some more, I'll put
No,
you back.
thank you.
Put you back to work.
No, thank you. I'm fine. Chris says to Barracuda, and Dean said he would be happy to help you with your garnish.
That's something to talk about outside of the live. I don't mind politics, but let's not talk about groins.
Pisno says, "Lol, John. I was just making a cliche 80s guy joke." And Chris says, "Or an enhanced driver's license."
No, I think it has to be a passport, Chris. I don't think the enhanced driver's license works to get out of Mexico. Specifically, a passport.
Danny Boy says to John Wilburn, "I just covered up that Krager makes an SS wheel for my 2005 GT."
Why would you do that, Dan? The 5-spoke wheels that are on it are the best you could ever get, or if it has them. You remember the wheels that were on the Mustang? The gray 5-spoke wheels? Yeah, those are the best Mustang wheels ever.
Yeah.
And they were on the blue Mustang that we just showed too.
Mark Sobe says, "I will no longer be traveling unless I win big at a lottery. Disability pension is a joke."
Yeah.
Dan says, "I effing love Krager SS wheels."
Not me.
Barry says, "I don't want him poking around down there." Fitzknife says, "I blasted and painted Chevy rallies while everybody else put on Kragers and Keystones."
You got to go back to the original wheels that were made for the car. They're the best.
Dan also loves ETs. Eats. 80s. I don't know. Chris says an enhanced driver's license works as a passport for traveling to and from Canada and Mexico.
I'm gonna have to check that out because the buyer of the Omega, can't get a passport because IRS says he owes money. But if he has one of those driver's licenses, maybe he can. I'm gonna
Um,
talk to him, and we're gonna have to do some investigation then.
Dan says my '05 has the bullet wheels with Kragers, but Kragers are better.
I'm since he flies all over the country, I'm pretty sure he already has the enhanced driver's license, but I'm not sure it's gonna work coming into and getting out of Mexico.
Write it down.
As soon as I get done with this, I'll go check.
Okay. FaceTime says I messed up a lot of wheels. Thank God I always had 40 more, and thank God I never paid for decent rims.
Well, everybody wants to put the aftermarket rims, so you can get the stock ones pretty easy. But nowadays, like when I bought my green '69 Chevy station wagon, it had some centerline style wheels, and I wanted stock, just your standard steel wheels, and I couldn't find them anywhere. They're just not to be found. Like in the pick apart yards and stuff, they'll take the stock wheels, they'll weld them together to hold up the car, so there's none to be purchased. They just destroyed thousands and thousands of wheels like that, so they're not easy to come by. You have to buy new ones, and they're not cheap. I did find a set though, and I put wheel covers on the car. So
Chris says we use our enhanced license to travel to Canada all the time.
I wonder if it'll work in Mexico.
Dan says definitely painting that Mustang myself so I can spend my money on Kragers. I think he's just trying to make him mad. Josh says one of my scout leaders had one of those Renault Alliances.
This is a Volkswagen though, Josh. This is an Atlantic, which was the first generation Jetta over there. I bought. I had two Alliances. I bought when I turned 21. I bought a '85 convertible 5-speed in dark gray. Looked like a BMW to me, and it was much cheaper and probably more dependable. So I drove that around, and then later on, when I was buying and selling cars, I bought this really cheap Alliance, and it was an automatic, and it had 10 times the power that my original 29,000-mile car had. So I don't know if there was something wrong with my car or what, but this thing just ripped compared to mine. So yeah, I guess it depends what day the thing was built.
Snap says Lowell Homan, understated perfection. Chris says looks like an MKL Jetta.
One Mark One.
Oh.
It is, but it's called Atlantic here, not Atlantico like it would be in Spanish, but just Atlantic.
Josh says built in Wisconsin with the same second-rate French engineering. Barracuda says I like those Quaker 5 spokes that you often see on lowriders. Can't remember what they're called, but I think another brand calls them Astro. Mark Sobe says my buddy who still has his '73 Beetle calls Volkswagen.
Oh yeah, okay, in Spanish, yeah, the B and the V sounds often get mixed up. Vaso is cup, but it's spelled VASO. But since it has the B sound, uneducated people will spell it with a B as in burro. So it says
Mm,
Atlantic right there on the steering wheel.
Barry says it needs a good scratching more than anything.
This is one for you, Chris. A Volkswagen pop top camper. Too bad it's not in liquid cooled to haul out all that extra weight, but still.
Mark Sobe says to Barry, the classic Kragers are a Krager SS.
Yep.
Face Knife says, is there a double V? No, I don't think so.
W.
There's a W,
Yeah.
but it's a different letter. It's not two B's. Drive Chris says if I ever get a transporter, it'll be a thin top. Thin top. Thin top?
Tin top.
Thin top.
You don't like the flip up, so you can actually stand up in the thing. This one looks pretty nice. Not overdone on the inside. Speakers that are useless. Four people in the back, two people in the front.
Chris says don't want a camperman.
You don't like camping? There's no refrigerator or anything. Wonder how slow it is.
Chris says in the garbage Colombian Spanish that I was taught in high school, there was not W in the alphabet.
I don't think there is a W in the Spanish alphabet because there's no
There
words.
is.
There's no words that start with it.
¿Cómo que no?
What word?
No sé, pero deja de pensar y te digo que sí.
No, there's no words that start with it. You use it in the middle of a word. I mean, you don't even use it in the middle of a word.
Si usamos la W, ¿por qué crees que es una palabra? No es una letra, es una W. Está en el alfabeto.
It's because the English words use it, but I don't think there's a Spanish word that uses it.
Voy a pensar.
The W sound is GUA here. The GU sound. The two-letter Y. That's how you say it in Spanish. Now here's an interesting car. They Europeanized this Renault Encore with the European front end, the European tail lights, made it a much nicer looking car. And supposedly it's a GTX, whatever that means. But it's a very nice car.
Mark says LOL probably smells like weed. Berkuda says I like Anson 5 slots sprints the most. Pit Snipe says bonus sobe. That smells like weed. And Chris says, do you mean GTA?
It says GTX right on the side. No, they never made an Encore GTA. It was only an Alliance GTA. But I don't know if this is a European package that was, because it says Renault Sport and then it says GTX, but it has the different taillights on. Those aren't American taillights or what was sold here. And it's got the different front end on it too. It makes a much nicer looking car than the one that was sold in the US. The Sport GTX. I could do without this interior though, the black and red. Can you unpin this?
No. This is yours. You can unpin it. Just leave it alone.
I knew that was going to happen. Knew that was going to happen. Got to unpin that thing.
Sorry, guys. Me gusta. Who's Mima's working?
Huh?
Mima's working.
I don't know.
Working? From Mima's? Mima's working. That's already.
Mima's Merkin.
Mm-hmm.
Merkin is a hair wig that goes down here.
Oh.
Mima is a grandmother.
Mm.
Nope, that was my beard. Here's your Caribe, Chris. Oh, this is back to the Renault, but the blue Caribe is pretty nice.
Business says Google working, I dare ya.
Yes, Dean is here, Barracuda. He has two or three other names that he uses. He's not using his original account today. I don't know. Maybe somebody's looking for him. I don't know. Maybe it got seized by the government.
He owes money to someone.
Hmm?
He owes money to someone.
Yeah.
Lester says, I test drove an Alliance. It rode and handled nice, but that was it.
It was not a powerful car. It just got you to A to B. That's the only thing the car was designed for. So
Chris says to Barracuda, he went to get his prod. Chris? I mean, Dean?
maybe he never answered me on the blue Mustang. So maybe he's not here anymore. He did not announce his departure though.
No.
When's the last time you saw a Nissan Sentra this clean, especially the wagon?
Barracuda says, what's his handle now? Can I add
It was
people?
X
But it
E.
doesn't show.
No, he's not here.
No, but it wouldn't. I don't think I can add people. I should. See? It doesn't show.
No, not on the phone. Not on the phone.
It should.
Execute something was his name. XECUTE.
Dances on my friend's sister survived rolling her le car only to be murdered by some dumbass while she was out jogging.
Terrible.
I'm sorry about that.
Three people left us. That must have been Dean and his other accounts.
Mm-hmm. Dina has alter egos.
Yeah. These wheel covers, the wheel caps though. Don't know where you would get those on this car. And the tail light, which might
Pit Snipe says, why the blue carpet in the back? Low.
protection.
And Lester says, execute S.
Mm-hmm.
Chris says, Dean fell asleep. His harness is still leaking fuel. Fumes. Fumes, sorry.
Well, I hope that's not the case because he's not going to wake up.
Dan says, oh no, the last time I seen my friend Randy before he died young, he was riding in a Renault Fuego, 1987. On our ways to the Pink Floyd concert at the old Cleveland Municipal Stadium.
So the moral of the story is stay out of Renaults.
Mm-hmm.
Stay away from Renaults. Renaults are bad. I survived my Renault ownership. I didn't buy many others though. Are we going to see this Caribe GT now?
Dan says to you exactly what I'm thinking.
What?
Stay away from Renaults.
Yeah. This is a Sierra Eurosport, which was only called Cutlass here. It wasn't called Sierra here. The Eurosport package looks pretty good on this car. 4-door and 2-door.
Josh says, all Cutlass Sierra. I still remember them. I still remember when those were everywhere.
Yeah, they still should be everywhere because they run forever. Why does it keep going back to the Renault?
You put the pictures. Dan says, you don't have to tell me twice. And Pit Snipe says, Iron Duke 2.5.
No, Pit Snipe. They only used in Mexico the largest engine they have. So this being a 1990 model, it would have the 2.8 in it. And then later on, the 3.1 was used in it. There was never a 4 cylinder in any of those here in Mexico. And some of them came with manuals, 5 speed manuals. So you could get a 2 door Eurosport Sierra with a 3.1 V6 and a 5 speed manual, and that car would drive forever. Good engine, no automatic transmission to fail on you. Just keeps going and going and going.
Dan says my mom had a 94 Sierra. His knife says 2.8. Okay, I like the 3.1 liter on my Beretta.
Yep, they run really well. They just keep going and going and going. This one's a really nice, comfortable car. Plush seats, automatic on the floor. I didn't find a stick shift. It's hard to find a stick shift in nice condition. People drove the hell out of them. And we're back to this one with different wheels.
Barracuda says my mother never drove. Fitz Knife says fist bump Dan, no worries. Dan says Ma was dark red. Her father had the same car in a station wagon. Ma's was a 4 door.
When I was buying and selling cars, all of these, the Celebrity, the 6000, the Sierra, the Century, they were everywhere. But I stayed away from the ones that didn't have distributors in them. I didn't like them. I don't like engines running off of sensors and all of that stuff, which is what everything does today. But I just stayed the hell out of it. I stayed away from them. The 3.8, I think it was, in the Buick Centuries. 3.8? Yeah. Yeah, 3.8. I didn't like those engines. Something fails on it, you don't know what to do. And they failed all the time.
Fitz Knife says we got a 92 Beretta for our wedding present from her folks. 3.1 liter that I loved.
I had one I bought it in 97. No, not 97, 2007. It was a white Beretta GT, not the GTU. It was the higher GT model. And I had it for 3 years and then I sold it, but drove it around here. No problem. Mrs. Spec and I took it 2 hours down the road to Culiacan, and we pulled into a new car dealer. All of the gauges started freaking out on the dashboard, just boom, 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 all over the place. It's like the car's telling me, no, no, please don't trade me in. Please don't trade me in.
Dan says them front wheel drives, A bodies were good cars.
Yeah, you can't kill them, especially with a stick shift.
Bob Del Campo says I wanted a 6000 with a 4 cylinder. Sorry. It says I wanted a shit. I wanted a 6000 for a 4 cylinder, but they're all gone now.
Yep. Anybody notice this Nissan? Oh, it's gone now. But Nissan truck turned into a carryall.
Barracuda says I love the 3.8 in my Commodore. Fitz Snipe says I made my bones at the dealership in college doing nothing but 2.5 liter Iron Duke timing gear replacements without removing the heads.
Were they high mile engines or was it a failure point? Now, while this Cougar looks like, it says special edition, looks like a luxury model, it's actually the XR7 with the supercharged engine under the hood. So somebody dressed it up like this to not make it look like the sporty model. And no, I'm not going to publish this for sale. Super cargado. I've never driven one of these. They have some of the Thunderbirds with the 5-speed here, the supercharged with a 5-speed. I've never driven one.
Dances to Pit Snipe. Was there a chain or are the Iron Duke's gear driven like a 4300? Pit Snipe says the 2.5 4 cylinder Iron Duke had a phenolic timing gears that got sloppy and sounded like a diesel overtime.
Yeah, I've heard that many times.
Dean is back. He says it's a very underrated engine, 230 horsepower. And he says it had a Mazda 5-speed option in the US.
In Mexico too. But I have not seen a Mercury Cougar with a 5 speed. I don't think that was an option even in Mexico. But as far as the Thunderbirds go, from 1989, no, before that, from 1984 or 1985, I think it was 1985, you could get the 3.8 liter V6 with a 5 speed manual in the base model Thunderbird. Whereas in the US, you could only get the stick shift if it was the turbo coupe. So that was an interesting car that was sold in Mexico, which is another car that will just run forever, even though the 3.8 is junk. It would just run forever because there's no automatic transmission to fail.
Dan says water cooled old school Volkswagen bus.
Nope. Wrong, Dean. Wrong, Dan. It is a liquid cooled Volkswagen bus with a 1.8 liter Golf engine in the back and a radiator up front behind that grill. This one will keep up on the freeway with all the traffic. Plus, you can have air conditioning in it if you want, front and rear. You can put the whole system in there.
Pitsnipe says it was a belt on a thermoset plastic cam gear. Dan. Chris says always like those mid 80s Thunderbirds.
Yeah. It was even in the 80, 87, 88 Thunderbird too. The stick shifts here, some of them. But V6 stick shift, you could go anywhere in the car and just keep going. They were very comfortable cars to drive, the Thunderbirds.
Pitsnipe says they always had a sleepy eye. Misfits, lol. I still love them too. Dean says 480 aircon, open four windows at 80 miles per hour.
Kilometers.
Sorry.
Anybody remember Dodge Spirit?
You got one.
I never had one.
No?
Would never buy one. Nope. Unless it's a stick shift, and the stick shift was only in the performance model. They put the red dual overhead cam engine in some of these here, as well as the Chrysler Phantom, which was the LeBaron coupe over there. So they're hard to find, and you have to pay a lot of money to get it if you do find one. But from what Steve Lato says, he bought one of those new with the dual overhead cam, and it was such a lemon that he made the dealer buy it back because he just couldn't keep it running right.
Chris says sure. Dodge Spirit slash Plymouth Acclaim.
And Chrysler LeBaron.
Pitsnipe
The Chrysler New Yorker.
Pitsnipe says I had an all-terrain Acclaim.
What does that mean? You drove it everywhere? I don't think they came in 4x4.
Dean says sure do. I liked it as it was a cut down K car. Mark Sobe says sorry. Mark Sobe says kind of an upgrade in style from a K car.
Right, but the weak point was the transmission. So I would never buy one with an automatic transmission or even offer one for sale.
Mark Sobe says Dodge Spirit or Plymouth Acclaim.
And Chrysler New Yorker. Can't forget the Chrysler.
Business says I dropped my Acclaim through 2 photos of snow. I'm assuming it's snow. Because First National Bank employees felt a little chilly. Lol. Dean says it's okay for action. Business says no, my bad. Mark says their transmissions were junk because of their turbo encabulators.
What I remember about the turbo engines in those, not the dual overhead cam, but the regular ones, was the tube that oiled the turbo was so small that any tiny little bit of whatever got in there and it stopped it up. So you had to change your oil more often than any other car just to keep the warranty going on it. So they didn't, because the turbo was going to burn up if it doesn't get the oil. So that's what I remember about those cars from when they were new.
Grease Belly Garage is here.
Hey, Grease Belly, thank you for joining us.
Fizz,
Right at the end.
Fizz Knife says the Hydro Deflippinator. Are you just making up words? I wouldn't know.
You'll never know.
I'll never know. Dean says, lol, I'm still recovering from red green from Canada. Welcome. Recovering?
Now, guys, this is a regular Nissan 720 pickup. It says 2.4. It switched. 2.4 liter on the side, but it has a Mexico only front end on it. So tell me if you like the front end on the Nissan pickup when it comes back.
Grease Belly Garage says, just my luck. Fitz Knife says, yes, I'm making up words, Mrs. Spec. Thank you. Thank you for that.
That's the front end with composite headlights that the US never got. It does not have the small engine that they used in Mexico. This is a 1993 model, whereas the 93s at 86.5, the hard body came out. They stopped selling 720s over there. But this was the last year for the 720 here, 1993, and then the hard body D21 came out in 1994. But I mean, this is like the best of the best engine, the best front end, the best everything that you could get in a Nissan pickup in that year. And then they kept selling the D21 hard bodies up until the 2010s. They changed the front end a little bit, but they still kept using the same body for decades.
Oh, Jesus. I almost dropped my coffee. Sorry. Business says fist bump Dean for Canadian TV. Then Barracuda says a lot of good comedians are Canadian. Grease Belly says I like it. Fitz Knife says Second City TV. And then he says Second City Chicago Fed, the birth of NSL.
SNL. Yeah.
SNL. Dean says sure, it's nice. Napsy 2.4.
2.4. Yeah.
Lester says looks like a Mitsubishi front end. Fitz Knife says Trailer Park Boys forever. Mark says to Barry, ever watch Derek Edwards? And Dean says all those Japanese trucks look the same, in quotations.
Not to me. Whoever he was quoting, I don't know.
And Dan says Rocket Barb. I'm assuming they're talking about the show or Derek Edwards. Dean says it's the eyes, Lester.
Single composite headlights. That would have been a neat front end for the U.S. market. It just wasn't allowed. There's a close-up of the engine, 2400. I think it only has one set of spark plugs, though. Some of these later on had 8 spark plugs on a 4-cylinder engine. Ah, look, here's the Tigra. I didn't remember that I put one in here. This is the 1999 Chevrolet Tigra, which is actually an Opel. A very small car, cute little car, sold for 1 year only, and then it was taken off the market for whatever reason.
Very good. It says Julian with his glasses of rum and coke always. Grease Bailey says it was nice when non-AC vehicles had less vents in the dash.
Yep, and you knew it didn't have it.
Dean says Norm McDonald. At a farm? I don't know. Pitzknife says hells yeah, Barry. Dan says another bus tampon. Stop it. Barracuda says haven't heard of Derek Edwards. Grease Belly says yep.
This, of course, does not have original wheels on it, and somebody painted the hood black for some reason. But it's a very interesting little car. And this is not the front end from it. This is from the Spirit. I don't know why the pictures got mixed up, but
Fitzknife says, if y'all ain't seen it, go find the drunk and the on drugs happy fun time hour. It's the boys losing their damn minds. The boys? Isn't the show the boys?
Actually, we're at the end. We're over 2 hours now.
Mm,
Dan's gonna say it again.
Mark says, look him up. He's good. Fitzknife says, Trailer Park Boys. Oh, okay. I thought you meant the boys as in the show the boys. Grace Valley says, the Trailer Park Boys. Is that orange or red?
Orangish.
Hmm.
Probably not the original color. They didn't get fancy on colors on that car. It was everything basic, basic, basic.
And D is here.
Hi, Aunt. Welcome. We're right at the end, though.
Barracuda says, I will. I'm a big fan of Norm MacDonald. Wait. Mark Silva says to Barry, he's from Timmins, Ontario. Shernette Twain is also from Timmins, Ontario. Danny Boyd says, I'm not into time, man. And yeah,
You should recognize this car. We had to push start it in Monterey.
yeah, I know.
I'd hate to have to drive one of those all the way back here, though. And then to the border. So are we just about done here? We've been here over 2 hours, and today is Saturday, so I think Buff is gonna go. Are you gonna go on later on tonight, Buff?
He says, we're going live at 9 Central Time.
Thank you for answering my question before I even asked it.
Very good. That is one thing you should avoid in New Zealand comedy. It's never good. It's New Zealand comedy. It's never good. And says, better late than never. Just got home from church and grocery shopping.
Well, if you want to look back at the live, there's quite a lot of very good Mexican cars that I show here. And I even comment on a few of them.
Chris Belly says, I have to get to work anyway.
Don't we all?
Yeah.
I got 2 customers that are waiting for my answers. Hopefully, I'll sell another Ram Charger soon. But we're gonna have to make Mrs. Spec and I have to make the exact same trip that we did last time, up to Monterey, Nuevo Leon, and drive it all the way down here, and then be able to deliver it to the border.
At least we know the road now.
Yeah.
But they gotta find a thing since we're sharing some cool cars.
I'm just wondering if we take a little bit of time and go to Saltillo, to the factory that's making the Ram trucks right now. I wonder if there's some kind of tour or something that we could take.
I can look it up.
Yeah, it would be. Don't you think it'd be interesting to tour the Mexican factory that is making some Ram trucks here? That Trump is trying to get them to transfer all of the production to the U.S., which is, I mean, they're not going to close the factory here because Mexico consumes a lot of Ram trucks, a lot. You've got your half-ton trucks, and then you have the cabin chassis that they sell a lot of to make commercial trucks. So there's no way they're going to shut down the factory here, but they're just not going to be sending the trucks to the U.S. for sale.
And says, how long of a drive is that?
It is 1,200 kilometers, so it would take us. We would have to probably leave Monterey and try to get to Durango to get a hotel room, because we will leave earlier than we did last time, because we got to Durango like at 3 o'clock in the morning or 2 o'clock in the morning, which is very dangerous to be driving out there at night. And then from Durango, we go stop in Mazatlan and stay there and have ribs at night, ribs and steak. And then from there, it's a 4-hour drive home. But we can't do any driving at nighttime. It's way too dangerous.
Chris Bailey says, I'm moving in a new house. I'm selling a bunch of cars. I'll check into a new spec car in the future. A
No.
Mexican spec car?
Hopefully.
And
a
says,
toy. The
mhm.
Mexican spec cars are toys at this point, unless
and
you want a car like a Sierra Eurosport with a stick shift or something. You could drive that every day. That could be a daily driver.
and says any factory tour is interesting.
Because the assumption is that if it's made in Mexico, it's lower quality or whatever. But I seriously doubt that, because you've got the same people running all of the factories all over the world. They're not going to allow lower quality to be sold on the lots. So, no matter what Scotty Kilmer says.
Dean says, won't you like get a free Ram truck? And Pit Snipe says, I will sell that Ram truck as quick as possible.
They're not bad. When they came out in 2019, I so wanted one in the dark red, really nice interior and everything. But in 2019, they were 1,100,000 pesos, and I that's like a psychological thing. Paying 1,000,000 pesos for a vehicle, I it is just not going to happen for me. I don't care what kind of vehicle it is. It's just not going to happen. I'd rather take that money and buy a bunch of smaller vehicles and sell them to the U.S. or whatever. Hmm?
Uh, Curtis Randolph is here and says, hey Max, glad I caught you live. Hard things with you.
Hey Curtis, sorry we're basically closing out right now because we've been on for over 2 hours. But you can look back at the stream and see all of the cute little cars that I publish here and my commentary on them.
Pit Snipe Husker
But
says,
wait, just so you know, we have been going on at 2 p.m. Pacific time on Saturdays. So I'm not sure if you're available at that time, but
Pacific.
mm-hmm.
Pit Snipe says, specs are specs, right spec?
Exactly. There's lots of specs.
Chris says, I've owned a few made cars in my lifetime. No problem with them.
Well, Scotty Kilmer says he hates everything that's made in Mexico except for the liquid cooled Volkswagen vans. So I don't know. I don't watch the guy. I don't think I'd be able to stomach him.
Pit Snipe says, I'm totally with you, spec. New vehicle prices have been unbearable for 30 years.
Like the things are over 2 million. Like we just passed over here in the neighborhood. There's a guy that has a TRX, a Ram TRX. We're talking like 2,300,000 pesos for that truck. I mean, absolutely crazy for that kind of thing. It's I just can't see it.
And says, made in USA, Mexico, China, the lack of quality issue starts with the design and bill of materials.
Yeah, but they're saying, people say that just because it's made in Mexico, because they're Mexican workers, it's a less quality vehicle, but that's just not true.
Mark says, mid 90s, I work at a Jeep dealer, and he also had a Leda dealer. Funny warranty thing about Leda is that if the part was less than $12, it wasn't covered. And there were a lot of parts under a $12 law.
How did you work at a Lada dealer? You worked in Russia? There was Ladas in Canada?
FaceTime says, Scotty Kilmer is dying every other week.
Yeah, I've heard that. I just don't. It's not something that I want to watch.
Chris says, Scotty is a tool. Dean says, roll up your tacos. Lester says, how much is
A
a
million.
million in US dollars?
Divide the million right now, Lester, by 18.38. I don't have the calculator right in front of me.
Pitsnight says, Scotty was a dude back when he was on PBS. Now I think our brother is losing his marbles and taking every dollar that comes his way.
Yeah, but he puts the bait titles out there, but everybody knows that. So I don't know. There's still people. His viewers are still supporting him. I just can't stomach a fake person that puts on a character. I don't watch Vice Grip Garage anymore. not because of his character, but because he's putting out 2 and 3 hour videos, and I just can't do that. I just can't watch them. Morsky Repair is the same thing. I cannot watch a 1 hour, 1.5 hour, 2 hour video on something like that. I just can't.
Grease Bailey says, mostly assembled in Mexico. I assume with parts from everywhere.
Yeah, just like everything else. It used to be that the parts, the vehicles, and the parts had to be made in Mexico, but it's not like that anymore. When everything went global, you know, Clinton with NAFTA.
Mark says, mid 90s, yes, Ladas were sold here.
Mark, can you send me a picture of one, please? Or a couple different ones? Because I'd like to see what one looked like. Did it actually have the Lada name on it?
Barracuda says, Scotty seems to be a sensationalist.
Yes, and that is fake. That's not how people are in real life. So you watch Uncle Tony, that's Uncle Tony. Off camera, in front of the camera, it doesn't matter. That's who he is. People like Scotty that put on a character to do his videos and, all of this, stuff and, energy and, oh, this, I hate this, and you should only buy Toyotas. But Toyotas, everybody knows Toyota has weak valve trains. So if you don't take care of them right, they start smoking and everything. So there's no, magic bullet to that. But I just can't. I don't have time for people like that. I really don't.
Pit Snap says, to the much Lester. Chris says, 1 million pesos is 54,000 US.
Right, but there's a lot of taxes involved in that. A million. The Gladiator, the Jeep Gladiator came out here with a 6-cylinder. That was well over 1 million pesos when it hit the market here, and people actually bought them. I don't understand people buying them, but they did.
Grace Belling says, clickbait Kilmer.
Yeah, I just can't.
Dean says, you could get a Hyundai Stella in Canada in the 80s.
A Stella?
Mm-hmm. Mark says to Barracuda, I can't stand him. His Knife says, I feel you, Spec. Mark says, I have a hard time watching videos longer than 20 to 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Barracuda says, I think he used to be a hippie.
Well, you see, the thing with the longer videos, like Tony was explaining, and I agree with him on this, that the guys that are putting out the longer videos, they're getting all the paint, they're making a lot of money for it, but there's only so many eyes and so many hours for those eyes. So the longer their videos are, the less videos that the smaller guys get watched. So it's not just that, hey, we're gonna, they put out longer videos, that's what they do, but they're taking views away from the smaller channels. So, and that's why they're doing it.
Tavo says, I can't watch 30-minute videos now. Live streams are a different thing, though.
Well, that's good. At least we're not boring you to death. We didn't put you to sleep, Tavo.
Dan says, Pole Barn Garage and Junkyard
Digs, but yeah.
Grease says, GG went commercial. His last really good video was the Betty White Cadillac.
That was a long time ago.
Mark Sobe says, I'll try to find a few pics. There was a Lada Samara and the Lada Niva.
Lada. But who said that about
What?
Pole Barn? Dan. I will watch Junkyard Digs. I will not watch Pole Barn Garage because he was on Junkyard Digs videos, and it's obvious that he has no respect for the vehicles he works on. So I will not watch somebody that does not respect the vehicles.
Chris says, Junkyard Digs is okay, but the in-video ads are super annoying.
That's why I have a fast forward button on my computer.
And says, people are also dumb. Any nation can build crap or quality. I have a lot of original junk model A parts. Also can't watch Scotty.
So we're all in the same boat.
Dean says, we can watch 2 hours and 15 minutes of Mr. and Mrs. Spec, Mexican Spec, because it's not fake.
No, we're pretty real. We keep it real. I haven't, I'm sure all of you know that I grew up in Southern California. I was surrounded by the movie business, TV business, and everything. Went to school with everybody from that business, but I never had a desire to be in front of the camera. Never had a desire to be connected to that business in any way. A good friend of mine was an ex stuntman. His mother was a stunt woman for the Charlie's Angels, and just really deep in all that stuff. and I like to hang around his house because his stepdaughter is very famous. I've told you all guys about that before. His stepson, actor and everything, but never had a desire to do anything connected with that business at all. Nothing ever. So doing videos for YouTube is kind of like having to do that, having to speak, having to record your voice and all of that stuff. I'm still learning about all that. I want your guys' feedback on my videos that I'm doing the voiceover. I'm not syncing the pictures with what I'm saying because I'm doing I do the write up and I don't really pay attention to what order the pictures are in, and I just put the voiceover over the pictures, to tell you about the vehicles, because when I'm talking about the engine, it's showing the interior of the car or whatever. But I have to learn how to do all that stuff. But I just want you to tell me. I'm putting a zoom at the beginning of each picture, so you can see it closer, and then it goes back, and to go to the next picture, and then it zooms and then goes back. Tell me if these changes are good or not, so I can make better videos. But I have never had a desire, because it was easy, and where I was, I had a lot of contacts. I was there. I knew a lot of people, knew a lot of actors, very famous people. I could have done something if I wanted to, but there was never a desire in me to do anything to play with old cars. And I'm still doing the same thing.
Yep. Chris Knife says Scotty Kilmer told me to buy an X-Tool D8. He overlooked the fact that it was built on a proprietary touchscreen and a 7-year-old OS.
Oh,
Fast stage. I didn't catch it either. It still works. Barracuda says, I'm not all that keen on a chat guy either.
I don't even know who that is. Never seen them. Never seen him.
Davo says, my old boss thought my wife was my wife a gladiator. Sold it. What? My old boss bought his wife a gladiator.
Gladiator.
A gladiator.
Mm-hmm.
Sold it a month later. They hated it.
You know what a gladiator is?
I think so.
It's the Jeep Wrangler that they turned into a pickup truck.
Yeah.
Yeah. Completely worthless.
Dan says to Chris, yeah, but at least you can skip through. GYD and PVG are among the few channels where they'll let their in-video ads play through. Buffalo Campos says, and people bail out of the long videos before they're finished.
Yeah, you look on your analytics and you have a 2-hour video and people are watching it for 20 minutes. The average. So, what if, I guess if they watch the ads, you get paid. But
Grace says everybody watches long videos at 2 times speed.
I don't even know how to do that.
I'll show you. Mark
I
says,
think watching something at 2 times speed would give me anxiety because
probably.
everybody's talking higher, everybody's moving faster. I don't think I'd be able to do that.
Mark says, Mexican Spec, I sent you a couple of pics on Messenger.
Thank you.
Fritz Knife says, I'm not anybody's target audience. I watch long videos though. Chris says, you don't like being in front of a camera? I had no idea.
Well, not being in front of the camera is not because I don't want to do it or like to do it. It's for a different reason.
Dan says, Mexican Spec, I get what you're saying there. PVG is more respectful than a lot of them, like Cletus.
I don't watch Cletus either.
Tavo says, WWK gets a lot of my viewing time. He just gets into the job, doesn't stand there looking at the camera, waffling on for 20 minutes for a 15-minute repair.
Who's WWK?
Dean says, Mexican expect the green room.
Right. Mark, and we're going to keep it that way.
Mark says, I use Mrs. Clipchamp. Clipchamp to edit my first video. It seems to be okay.
I'm using, what is it, Capcom?
Capcom.
Okay, but most of the I do my videos, right, and I pick a certain font in a certain color, and then I use it, and the next time I come in there, they put the little diamond on there saying that I have to sign up for the I have to pay them monthly to use it again. So everything that I'm using, now you have to pay for it. So I just use something else. At some point I'm going to have to, open up the whole thing, and so I can use the whole thing and make my videos even better. But
my Barracuda says, did you know Tom Mix or Hood Gibson?
No. They're way before my time.
Pizza,
I'm not that old. Most of
Pizza,
the people that knew them are dead.
Pizza says that was cold, Barry. And says completely agree. New Gladiator is completely useless. Pizza says I'll show you at a girl. Mark says to Mexican Spec, you can watch at 1.5 or 1.25 or 1.5 speed. Barely notice at 1.25.
It's still a long video.
Barracuda says Gloria Swanson.
That was way before my parents' time.
Chris says Stellantis is going to make a new Dakota built alongside the Gladiator and the Toledo, Ohio plant. Grace says I live about 10 minutes from Cletus Law.
Hey Barry, I'll tell you something that somebody I probably did know at school. He was in 10th grade while I was in 12th grade. That was Ice Cube and his and the guy that was with him, Easy E. They were both in my high school. I could give you a huge list of the famous people that were in my high school.
Davo says WWK is wrenching with Kenny.
I don't know who that is either.
Fitz Knife says I haven't the entire dash door out of my 93 Dakota. The door locks work now though. I win.
So there was a pinched wire or something. I don't know.
Grease,
I don't know why you need power door locks.
Grease Belly says I use UCUT. It's all free and it's great.
Well, with this one here, you can use some of the stuff free, like some of the music and stuff, but some of it you have to, if you're signed up for the pro, then it unlocks everything. So, it's most of the stuff. Like I said, there's one font that I like, the yellow font on my black background, because it has a border on it and everything. But if I use that a couple of times, then the next time I come in there, it's got the diamond on it where I can't use it unless I pay for it, and then the next couple of times it'll be free again, and then they just keep going back and forth and back and forth. So I never know what font I'm gonna be using.
Bob Del Campo is wondering what is UCUT. I'm assuming it's an app to do videos. Mark
There's a
says
lot of them out there.
Mark says to Mexican Spec, Microsoft Play Champ is free. You can upgrade it. It seems to have all you need on the free version. I have the free version.
Yeah, but I do music, I do cuts, I do the text on the things. I'm gonna stay with this, and see, I may have to start paying for the thing because there's a whole lot of options, with effects and how you can, transitions and everything else that I can't use because they're only for the paying people. It would make the videos a whole lot better. But hopefully you guys will tell me if you like the zoom, because when the picture comes in, it zooms it in a bit and then it goes back, until it goes to the next picture, so you can see some of the details closer. I don't know. That's the only zoom that I was able to find on there. It doesn't zoom all the way in till the end of the picture.
Chris Bailey says it's editing software puff. Maricoda says, did you run into motorcycle stuntman Jim Hawley?
No, I didn't. The only stuntman I knew was this friend that was selling cars at a Chevy dealer because he hurt himself and he couldn't do stunts anymore. He was John Eric Hexum's personal stuntman on the Voyagers, and he was going to be his stuntman on the news show when John killed himself. So basically, because they were very similar in looks, so basically his career was over as far as that went for being his personal double.
And says, I've been using CapCut, but most of my videos are one-shot video and post. I don't always have the time or patience for going app to app.
Well, the videos that I'm posting, like the shorts, I'll put a picture of the car, then I'll put a black, a black square, and then put the text in there, what the car is and everything, and then the rest of the pictures, and then a green square that has, come see more cars at whatever, and then the last square, and then I superimpose a subscribe text, the thing on there, and then that's the end of the video. But I started doing a voiceover of the write up on it, so I don't have to put the black thing in there, which I may still do anyway, because not everybody actually listens to these shorts with sound on. So I'm still working things out. but I'm getting better with the the voiceovers.
Buff del Campo says, I need to go get ready for our live. Take care. Thank you for being here, Buff.
It's that late, Buff? Or are you gonna take a nap?
Chris says, I use OpenShot Video Editor. It's free, open source software, but I use it under Linux, and I don't know if it's available on Windows.
Mm.
Barracuda says, Ice Cube. Is he the guy Charlton Heston had a beef with?
I don't think so.
Grease Belly says, UCAT is like 90% free. I get music from Upbeat. Dean says, yeah, Barracuda. He stole the GPS unit on Planet of the Apes.
You don't know who Ice Cube is, Barracuda? He was just in a new movie, um, a horrible movie. Was it War of the Worlds? The new War of the Worlds. He was the guy sitting at the computer. You know, the main character that never moved. So, but no, he's supposedly the story goes that he was living in Compton, California. They were living in Compton, California, and they were bussed into our school. And they have a very different life over there in Compton that we did in Woodland Hills. So he noticed the difference in the lives, how we lived and how he lived over there. And that's when the idea got to him that he's going to put this group together and rap about it and, you know, all of that stuff. And that's how the group came together. So if you don't know who he is, look him up.
Josh Human says, I doubt that Charlton Heston would even know who Ice Cube or whatever his real name was.
There's also an Ice-T that he's on a show. He's on a show that's in New York, the police show.
Bitsnipe says, I was forced to lean Cobble and Fortan. My friggin' phone kicks my ass daily. To learn, sorry. I was forced to learn Cobble and Fortan. Bertula says, only from my cold dead hands.
His cold dead hands.
Oh.
Yeah.
Dean says, Ice was able to prise Charleston guns from his cold dead fingers, though. Dean says, yo, dude, hands-free weapons. Andy, is that all on CapCut? What are you doing?
Yeah, that's the one I'm using on my PC. I don't like doing anything on a phone.
Grisbelly says, I do my entire channel on a Google Pixel 9. And a GoPro. Grisbelly says, boys in the hood.
Yeah. And also F the police. That was a good one for them.
Dean says, Ice Cube always gets a box seat. Barcola says, it was someone. Heston didn't like his song Cop Killer.
Yeah, that was him.
Face Knife says, Ice Cube is in the worst movies except Straight Outta Compton, which he wasn't actually in that, on Friday.
His son was in it, so he was kind of in it. I haven't seen that either. But when I went to Compton, a friend of mine from high school lived there, and I was driving my Renault convertible and with the top down. So I'm driving through Compton and I'm just praying for no red lights. But I did get stopped at a red light, but everything was fine. So I was there on it was New Year's, and I went to visit him. And when New Year's hit, you hear all these gunshots outside, and I turned and said, "What's going on outside?" He says, "Oh, they don't shoot guns in your neighborhood at New Year's." I said, "No, in Woodland Hills, no, they do not." So it was a fun night.
Dean says, that's what Ari found too, Mexican Spec. Grace Belly says, Law and Order SBU is Ice-T.
Yeah, he's on that show.
Dean says, Straight Outta Compton.
Yeah.
Snipe says, great movie, Dean. Dean says, 160.943 kilometers and running. Barcuda says, Lucy was from Compton or was it Ramona? Snipe says, tell the truth, Spec. Put your hydraulics in an Impala, didn't ya?
No, everybody knows that I'm original as can be. But yeah, there was a lot of lowriders in that area.
Dean says, always say yes at a red light when someone offers to clean your windows.
No. I shake my finger at him. No, no.
Dean says, on WA, 100 miles and running. And Granddad's Junk says, good day, Mexican brother and sister, Mrs. Spec.
Hey, Granddad.
Barracuda says, I thought my US indie wheels were going to be from Compton, but not China.
China. China.
Pet Snipe says, lol, my bad, Spec. Had to check, lol. Chris says to Granddad's Junk, hi, Tony.
Are we tired yet? Hi.
Dean says, with Mexican Spec, they could think your finger is a gun.
The kids that are cleaning the windows here? I don't think so.
Grease Belly says, I'm out, guys. Have a great night.
I think so are we. We're way past where we should have been. So we will be back next week, hopefully. But the week after.
Not next week.
Why?
Because I have to go out next week.
So?
I have a party.
So? That's later.
You don't know.
We'll see. We may be here next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. So I appreciate everybody being here. I'm sorry, Granddad. We've been on for a long time, so probably see you tomorrow on one of the lives. See all you guys soon. So good night, everybody.
Thank you for being here. Bye-bye.